All right, we got to talk about this crazy story where this teacher allegedly left claw marks on a teen's back after sex, and other students were lookouts while this happened. And the New York Post says she got a sweetheart deal. Let's check it out. An now fired Missouri math teacher who admitted to having sex with a student while others served as lookouts may only have to spend 3 months behind bars if she goes through sex rehab. That seems like a pretty sweetheart deal to me. Now, Haley is a divorced mom of 2 and was recently sentenced to 4 years in prison. But here's the kicker. That sentence would be suspended if she completes rehabilitation program for sex offenders. The circuit court judge said that he would check up on her progress in rehab in 3 months and release the disgraced teacher on probation if she has done well. Now, generally, when people are caught having inappropriate relationships with minors, they get more time than just a couple of months behind bars. Now, the sweetheart deal was reached in September, where she pleaded guilty to sexual contact with a student, allowing her to avoid the most serious initial charges, including statutory blank, child molestation, and child endangerment. Okay, so now we know the outcome, but what are the facts of this case? What happened? How could they be okay with giving her such a sweetheart deal? Well, here are the facts from local news.
A teacher accused of having a relationship with a student has been arrested in Texas near San Antonio. Haley Clifton Carmack worked at Lakeway High School in Pulaski County. She's now charged with having sex with a student. In early December, a school resource officer reported a witness came forward saying the teacher and a 16-year-old student were in a relationship. Investigators then went to the high school and took Clifton Carmack's phone. The superintendent for the district told KY3 she hadn't been at the school since December and did not expect her to return. Another man, Mark Creighton, is also charged in this case because detectives say he knew about this relationship and did not report it.
Now, at the end of that, you heard someone else was arrested because they knew about the relationship and didn't report it. Well, that happened to be the teen's father. The father of the high school student who was in this relationship with the teacher knew about the relationship and said it was okay.
All right, folks, take a look at Mark Creighton. Take a look at him. This is a father, okay? He's been charged with permitting or allowing or doing nothing when he found out that his 16-year-old son was being sexually abused by his teacher. Now, those are the charges. The 16-year-old might say something else was happening, might not consider himself a victim necessarily. I don't know. But this father permitted it to go on, according to investigators, and they now have charged him. And he has been charged. First-degree child endangerment. That's what makes this teacher-student case even more different.
Well, the father is living vicariously through his son. You know, he's looking at this teacher and thinking, I mean, the father's 36, the teacher's 26, his son is 16. And I think that the father's just living vicariously, thinking it's okay, thinking that it's cool, kind of like the kids who are going high five. This is going to be very confusing. It is confusing already, and it's going to get worse for the victim. Because on the one hand, he's gotten this approval from his father, and all the kids think he's cool. That's the teachers need to understand that, if you're going to have sex with a kid and a teenager, you need to expect that they're going to brag to their friends.
Now, I know some of you heard that and probably were shocked, like, oh my God, the parent knew. And on top of that, he said it was okay. Well, this also happened in Texas. Here's a case from Houston in which essentially there's the same exact facts. And the parents okayed the relationship between teacher and student.
Prosecutors say 24-year-old Alexandria Vera, a teacher at Stovall Middle School, not only engaged in a sexual relationship with one of her 13-year-old students, the mother of one also got pregnant by the 8th grader. But in court documents, Vera says the student's parents knew about the relationship and they approved of it, allowing the teen to spend the night at Vera's home in spring where they would engage in sex on a regular basis. She told an investigator she would drop him off at home in the morning so he could catch the bus to school. The relationship allegedly lasted for 4 months, ending in January with a pregnancy that Vera terminated.
Now, I also think it's important to note that in this Texas case, this teacher got 10 years behind bars.
Friday morning, Judge Michael McSpadden formally sentenced the former Aldine ISD middle school teacher to 10 years behind bars.
Normally on cases like this, they get 3 life sentences. So if I was Alex, I'd be counting my blessings.
The only witness to take the stand was a clinical psychologist. She said Vera witnessed domestic violence growing up and that she had been in destructive relationships in the past and was a good candidate for therapy, that Vera had a history of deception as well. Judge McSpadden also made statements that both Vera, her family, the victim, and his family wrote letters to the court in support of the relationship, claiming that it was culturally okay.
Okay, let me pause this video and ask you a question. Have you used Google Chrome's Incognito Mode between 2016 and 2023? If so, you may be entitled to up to $5,000 in compensation. Now, if you use Incognito Mode, Google was secretly tracking your data despite their promises that your search history and personal information was not going to be collected or tracked.
Collects 39 individual data points on you, and so this is all about data. They're trying to figure out how they can get access to it. So creating this incognito mode was supposed to be a way that they were not capturing or retaining your data. That's what we all believed, but they were capturing it. What Google says is we were capturing it, but we weren't keeping it on an individual basis. But the individuals that filed suit was saying no, we signed up for incognito mode believing that when we used it, you weren't capturing our data at all.
What's the next thing, right? So speaking of what's the next thing, what happens to Google now? Are they at risk of more lawsuits from this?
100%.
So if you've used Google's Incognito Mode during the period of 2016 to 2023, you could be eligible to join the lawsuit at no cost to you. Visit browserclaim.com to see if you qualify. Now, I need you to understand, participating in any lawsuit doesn't guarantee compensation, but you do have the right to seek compensation if your privacy was violated. Now, full disclosure, my firm isn't the only one involved. For instance, one of the largest firms in the country, Morgan & Morgan, is also asking for clients for this lawsuit. Now, for more information and to get started, visit browserclaim.com today to protect your rights and hold Google accountable. Now, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Now, back to the video. Now, as you can see, pretty similar facts. Family approves in both situations. Both are messing with teens, but one gets 10 years and the other one, she gets 3 months. Now, Haley Carmack had previously gotten in trouble with school officials for getting too close to students, and she initially denied the affair when the detectives initially questioned her in December 2023. She said she was heading to Texas for the holidays, telling her roommates that, she's not coming back. Now, an interesting part about this is the teen boy's father is also facing charges for endangering the welfare of a child, which is a felony. And they're saying that he knew of the relationship with the teacher, he failed to report it, and he even knew that the other teens were posing as lookouts while the teacher and his son had sex. It's interesting because Haley would actually come over to his house and be with his son while he was present. And, quote, he allegedly told witnesses that he would lie for his son if he had to. Now also, you get to see the difference in how Texas law enforcement treated the family of the victim, where in Missouri, they charged the father because they said you knew and you didn't do anything about it. Matter of fact, you consented to this. And in Texas, they didn't charge the family at all, just the teacher. So what do you think about this case? This teacher obviously is getting off with a sweetheart deal. 3 months, she'll never teach again, and then she'll go on with her life, right? So I think she got off easy. The father, I think he's got a little issue, but I think even with them only charging him with the endangerment charge, the endangering the welfare of a child, I think he's getting off lucky with that because this could easily be sex trafficking of a minor, right? Because he's literally taking his son and taking him to the teacher and the teacher's having sex with them. That is sex trafficking. Now, if you remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, how the pimps were really prominent in society, and rappers were, the pimp game. You gotta get your pimp game on. Who are you?
My name is a pimp named Slickback, and I believe I may have misplaced some merchandise at this residence. There she is. Bitch, I hope you got the monies to cover this little vacation you've been taking.
And now you don't hear that stuff anymore? That's because most pimps were being charged with sex trafficking and doing life sentences. So the pimp game is the jailhouse game now. Now, part of me believes the father should be charged. If he knew and he consented to all this and all this was happening, then yeah, it seems like he's committing a crime. And would you guys feel differently if this wasn't a male student, but if the genders were reversed, if this was a female student? I think most of us would have a different feeling to this, and that may show the differences on how we still feel about gender in this society. But let me know how you feel in the comments section. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.